Hello and welcome to the Gunnar Vibe. Thanks, Varun, again on a work day talking about Arsenal. But we won against Manchester United yesterday at Old Trafford. Um, it's been a tough place to go, regardless of how bad they have been. Uh, it's one more game to go now. We have done what we could to keep the title all the way to the last game now. What are your first reactions? I know it's been more than 24 hours since the game has gone, but
Yeah, first reactions is I think 3 points was
mm,
the most important thing. And as you said, we've only won three times in the last 20 years. I remember the
mm,
Adebayor 1-0, the Aubameyang 1-0 in 2020, and this one. So, scoreline aside, it's been our bogey stadium. They've always, even if there's the poorest Man United team, as we saw yesterday, they created problems for us, and that's how they've been every single time. Um, but we showed maturity. I think the team figured out that the 3 points were important than the scoreline. And
mm,
it was a risky scoreline, but we executed the plan. So kudos to the team and Arteta for coming back with 3 points. And as you said, the last day.
yeah. Well, we got 3 points. We started the game with the same team that we've been playing for the past, I want to say, 4 games now. Any surprises when you saw the team sheets? I was honestly surprised looking at the Manchester United starting lineup. I felt like this was the game for a taking. I know a lot of people have been looking for an 8-2,
Yeah,
what will I
revenge for the
say,
8-2.
revenge.
Yes,
But
yes.
yeah,
I agree. I mean, I saw a lot of fan base, like even our own fan base, like, hey, let's go for a 5-1, 6-1, and like those kind of score lines. But I was chatting with a couple of other Gunners, and I was of the other side, which was like, I don't care, even if it's a 2-0, like just execute the plan, come back. But of course, if we had gotten 2 goals within 20 minutes, it could have been a field day for us, but it wasn't the case. So I think plan B came in, and I think that's what the team stuck to.
yeah. What do you think was the case? I know we
We
got the goal, but we
we
didn't
were
really look
Yeah,
comfortable.
I think we have shown glimpses of how champions play. We were really poor yesterday. Poor
Mm,
as in United. We showed too much respect to United at Old Trafford, barring the starting 11. They barely had their charismatic, like Bruno Fernandes, who's been carrying. So we could have put in a triple shift, and like we could have gone for the kill. But I did feel like the players after the City game yesterday, the players, it was in the players' mind. I feel that if we stumble today, it's game over, right?
mm,
Regardless of what happens at Spurs and the last day, I think that was in the psyche of the players, because this is the first time in the last run in that we were chasing City rather than, we were always playing ahead of them and we were going ahead and then they were catching us. But I think this was the first weekend where we were the chasers, like,
mm,
between Saturday and Sunday, and they executed. We thought, everyone thought Fulham would be the place where they will, lose points. They just blew Fulham away. And it was more of mentality. I wouldn't say like we were poor, but the team was still resilient. I think they just knew that they need to get the job done, and I think that's
mm.
what they stuck to.
Yeah, I mean, there is probably a little bit of nerves also. Like,
Yeah,
this is, with all things considered, this is probably a must win game for us. Especially,
exactly.
like you said, after Man City played for a while, it's been Arsenal playing first and Man City following up. But um, it showed in the game as well. We were very, very, I won't say in the front foot. We were in the front foot for the first like maybe 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and after that it was pretty much United. But we didn't really even see United putting a lot of pressure. We didn't see a lot of shots on target or anything.
Eh,
But there was a lot of space that they could run into.
Yeah, and I think it was the opposite for them. We had pressure exactly to what you defined, pressure of keeping this alive and like taking City to the last day. And I think they had pressure after that 4-0 at Crystal
Mm,
Palace to not let Arsenal do the same to them in their own last home game. So I think they were little skeptical. They were like, I think it was a game of chess. I think probably Ten Hag and the team were like, we shouldn't make this a 4-0 loss at
Mm-hmm.
home.
Yeah.
And whereas we were like, hey, let's not try to go too overboard and keep spaces open in the back and concede. It was kind of like both were playing in the back foot, and hence the 1-0, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was, they didn't create much because they didn't want to concede more. And like we didn't create much because, like we said, we'll just shut up shop. And after that goal, I think our mentality changed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't create much. That was pretty much out of the uh, running that we scored the goal.
Yeah.
It was interesting how much space Havertz had on the right and Casemiro playing him onside. Another goal from Trossard. Um, People before this have been saying that Trossard is really good from the bench, but he has proved time and again in this second half of the season that he's really good starting as well.
Yeah.
Um, he did well, but Arteta also made changes in the second half with bringing Martinelli in. Were you impressed with the changes Arteta did make and the timings of them?
Yeah, I think the changes were positive, but Martinelli has not been himself. He's been a pale shadow of himself because he actually had 2, 3 opportunities
Hmm.
to run through. Like there was nobody there between him and Onana. He screwed that up, either to take it by himself or like pass it to I think that time Jesus was there, and he had another opportunity towards the end in the 90th or 87th or 90th minute to bury it, and I think he hit it straight at Onana. If it was the Martinelli of last season, I think we could have won this game 3-0 because I think Martinelli's shot was one, and I think there was one more shot that was a deflection from the corner that could have gone.
Hmm.
But Onana actually kept them alive.
Yeah.
So good changes, meaning in terms of like positive. The first couple of changes were more attacking. I think Arteta at that time wanted the second goal, Jesus and Martinelli coming in, but unfortunately they both didn't click at all. Like
Hmm.
to what they can do. But then I think when the 90 minutes struck, I think the other two changes were like, hey, this is it. Let's close this game. Jorginho and Kivior. So I think Arteta also had different ideas. And I think he took it by how the situation was playing out. Like, because, and we were, honestly, if I think we were lucky yesterday,
Hmm.
I think the Partey challenge in the box, I don't know if it was Garnacho, uh,
That's a
it could
must.
have been a penalty in on another day, and
Hmm.
that penalty could have screwed us, and it would have been 1-1, and we would have been, this is it, we wouldn't have been having this discussion. So
Yeah.
I feel luck little bit favored us because we know in United, like in Old Trafford, these kind of referees, they usually like benefit the home team. I was fairly shocked that there was nothing given, not even a VAR check. So lucky for us, honestly, to come back with 3 points. But
Yeah, I
that's
saw
all that
that
matters. Yeah.
incident a couple of times on real time. I usually turn off the sound while watching those games because the commentary just
Yeah.
screws with me. But it seemed to me that the other player was actually tripped on Party, like stamped on
Right.
Party. So, but it's kind of like that Harvard penalty claim. If you remember that he
Yeah.
drove his leg to the ball to the
Correct.
keeper rather than the other way around. So, but either ways, there was no way Manny was seriously going um, for this game, anyways.
Yeah.
We go to the final game. Uh, Man City has, as usual, a game in hand against Spurs. In fact, today we have a game, Aston Villa versus Liverpool, which can be having a bearing to the title challenge or for Spurs' sake, anyways. Do you feel any percentage of inkling that there is going to be a chance that Spurs might do us a favor?
Uh, there is, chances are there is, but I'm not pinning my hopes on anyone because it comes down, and I've heard this a lot that, oh, we have been flawless for 2020 in 2024, but we have to remind ourselves that half of the season was in 2023, and I think that the last two games is where we this is the effect of that. I think even if you forgive the Villa home game, Villa are a top four side, totally fine. We lost, probably they did a double on us. But I think if you look at the math, this was obviously thrown in. Forget the away games. We lost it at the Emirates this season. Like the 2-2 draws against Fulham and Tottenham, and the 2-0 loss against West Ham at home. The away games forgiven, like 1-0 at Newcastle, 1-0 Aston Villa, and the 2-1 at Fulham could be forgiven. If we had taken care of business at home, we would have been in the driver's seat. And it's City don't look like they're gonna drop anything. And like I know that they haven't won in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium since 2018,
Mm,
but City being City, Pep being Pep, he would actually use that as motivation to go and close that down like this week.
mm,
And Spurs don't look like who they are after Kane left. To be honest, like the first 5 games they were just they were celebrating the title win after game week 6. But that's Spurs being Spurs. I don't think, barring a miracle, I don't think I'm gonna put my hopes on Spurs. And West Ham, I don't think they're gonna show anything at the Etihad. So for me, I think we have taken it to the last game week just to satisfy our you know like, hey, we took this to City to the last game. But I think we shot ourselves in the foot. I think, I'm not saying we should have been near perfect, but I think in one of those 2 games, if we could have just gotten over the line, the West Ham game, we had 26 shots on goal. This would not have been. We would have won it on our own ground with our own title in the hands. I think that would have been more satisfying. But to rely on these 2 teams, I don't think, with the way City are right now, relentless. Maybe if they were still busy with the Champions League, maybe there was a chance because they would have been distracted. But I don't think they're gonna. Um, I don't have any hopes, honestly.
yeah,
That's my feeling.
yeah. I mean, it's tough to play against City. I feel it's not easy. I do value a lot that Arsenal has done. Not just this season; they have been doing it for the past 2 seasons, going toe to toe with Man City, pretty much all the way to the end. It's again they have a lot of wealth. They can purchase any players they want. We have done almost similar to what they could do by getting Rice before City could get Rice, which is a step
Yeah,
in the positive direction. I feel like the summer will dictate how even closer we can get. We don't have Klopp next year. We don't probably the challenge from Man United might get better. Chelsea might get better.
yeah,
Tottenham would get better as well. But all signs come back to how we can improve. Arteta has one
absolutely.
season left. Pep has one season left in their contracts. Um, and I don't think there is going to be a club in this world who would be looking for Arteta's signature when his time comes to an end. So I would want to value his time as much as possible. At Arsenal, it's not been easy ride for him. With
Yeah,
like, if you have to compare coaches, you have to, or compare teams, you have to compare a stage in which the coach came in to the
yeah,
team. Right when Klopp came in, they had really good seasons with Brendan Rodgers. They had really good team already. Coutinho, Firmino were all there. With Pep, he already had KDB and a really good team. He just had to add a
yeah. He
few
just added the
players.
cherry on top, and plus,
Yeah,
as you said, the wealth. Barring all the charges against them, they took advantage of, when nobody was paying attention. But um, I think a lot of experienced players who have now, in sports punditry. I think Ian Wright mentioned it. Imagine if City was not in this equation, like both the years, for example. Arsenal was like, with the points that we have accumulated in the modern day, it should have won the title. But again, Liverpool have suffered even more painful losses, like 1 point loss at 92,
mm,
91, and then 97, 98. And that season where Klopp lost by a single point, they had only lost 1 game.
mm,
So it shows you that, I mean, now we know why Klopp has literally quit. Like, he is exhausted. going against Pep with limited resources, limited all the other things. Anfield is too small as well. Like how Highbury was for us. So Klopp has hung up his boots. Like if you see his 9 seasons, he could only manage to win it once. Like
Mm.
he tried so hard, but at least he delivered all the trophies to them. He from Premier League to Club World Cup, UEFA, everything. So he at least gave them the the entire trophy cabinet. But you can see from his experience going toe to toe with Man City how draining it is.
Mm.
And all I want to do is, if I'm Arsenal, get Arteta signed up for a longer time, and all we can do now is a waiting game, right? We can again challenge it next year. Potentially we will cross the line. Who knows? This year we may cross the line, but again, barring multiple miracles. But next year, I mean, again, that the problem is, I know we will challenge next year, but the problem with that is every single time we challenge and get to this point, lose it by a point or two, it exhausts the club, the players, the manager, and that makes it more frustrating. Last 20 years, 17 years, we never challenged. So we were just like chasing the invisible trophy. There was not pressure on us to win the title. We were just like, in and around. But once you come second for a couple of times, that actually builds on you negatively. Like, hey, can I ever cross the line?
Mm.
And with a team like City, unless they're kicked out of the league next year, who knows what's going to happen. If this was against us and Liverpool, like how they're actually human, we would have won the league, right? They actually faltered, they screwed up in a couple of games. That is how title race should be. Like,
Mm.
you lose a couple of games, you draw some random game against United, the other team wins. But City are just, they're a machine, I think, and it's hard to compete against this, honestly.
Yeah, I feel next year it's going to be. I mean, we have to win a trophy and also at the same time challenge City all the way through. Um, Honestly, I don't. I would hope that we win this season or next season a Premier League title, but it is more important to win other
Trophies
cups
as
as
well.
well, like
Yeah,
FA
yeah,
Cup or Carling Cup, whatever we call it now,
yeah.
or even Champions League if it is possible. The thing is, like you said, once City goes on a roll, like even this year, if you see 2024, Arsenal have only lost one
That
game,
one game,
drew
yeah.
one game, and City has not lost a game since December.
Exactly.
So
The
you can
last loss
only
was against Villa, the one
right,
nil. Yeah,
yeah. So you can only imagine how big a challenge that is for a team like Arsenal. They have to be pretty much perfect all through the season. Like actually be like Invincibles
yeah,
and better than Invincibles.
right.
Not lose a game.
You cannot do 12 draws anymore. Like,
Yeah,
you need at least 30 wins.
yeah. 30 events and yeah. So it's pretty much it's a difficult task for any team. But I'm hopeful that when I told that Manu, Chelsea, and all those teams will get better, this will make the league a little bit more challenging for City.
Right.
Um, and Arsenal, it's going to be, it's not going to be a one-way traffic. Like it's
Yeah,
difficult for Chelsea, it's for City, but it's going to be difficult for everyone. Everyone wants to win the league, but
right.
you just have to see who's improving year by year. Visually, you can see Arsenal is the more improved team.
Yeah,
Like you can kind of see that City is kind of in a plateau. Like
correct.
this
City
is
is
the
either,
level that you take.
yeah, if you take Kevin De Bruyne, like you already saw the decline, slight decline in the first half when Gundogan, Mahrez, and a couple of others, quit. Like, people like Company and all. But I think the player still holding them together is, I think, Kevin De Bruyne, because first half of the season they struggled when he was not there. That's when they lost
Mm,
to Wolves and like all these guys. He is still like their main player, like their Odegaard, and I think the City can only turn if Klopp leaves. I think because even if the players are the same, I think he drives a lot of. He's like the 12th man. I think he's a good coach. I mean, regardless of all the allegations and things like that. But again, he's only a success. If you see his track record, he's only a successful coach because wherever he has gone, he's not done anything without resources.
Mm,
He's not turned around like a club like Arsenal, as you said. He also went to he took up Barcelona when they had all the legends, like when
mm.
we Ronaldinho and all, Messi. Like he had a ready-made core, and same with Bayern Munich. He left Barcelona, went to Bayern Munich. It was a winning star-studded team. All he went there. It almost took him what 6-7 years even to win Champions League there, I think. Or
They didn't win the Champions
yeah,
League
he
as well.
didn't win the Champions League actually. Yeah, you're right. And then he came to City again. The platform was already set by Mancini and Pellegrini. All he did was he added a couple of ingredients, and he just so he's not been through what Arteta or other managers with limited resources, limited financial support. So yes, he's a good tactician, but not. Um, I mean, he's not like a savior for the club. Like he cannot turn a club around. He's just going to a successful club and just making it more successful. Like I don't think he can. I don't think he can go, for example, to a Leicester City and without any money, turn them into a champion. Like so,
Mm. Yeah, we saw kind of that from Mourinho, where
right?
he has been on all the clubs where he has been, except for Porto, where
Yeah,
he had really good teams already.
already,
But
and plus he
success,
had backing like in terms of the market and
yeah.
yeah, he uh, good tactician, but that's the thing. I mean, we are competing with. Uh, we have turned it into a farmers league, right? We used to make fun of France and Bayern Munich, but again, Leverkusen is a template without
Mm,
much resources. Leverkusen never ever won the league,
mm,
beaten like Bayern Munich, who are they win like 11 years in a row. So who knows? We all we can do is hope. I mean, we have one more week of hope. As you said, the Villa game today might have some impact on Spurs. Who knows? Spurs may be like they have beaten them 5 times in a row, and
mm.
they do another one, or even they get a draw. I don't even think we need a loss of Man City. We just need a draw. But that goal difference has been crept up by City, and
Yeah,
who knows? We can win it by one goal on Sunday.
yeah. I mean, a draw would be great. It is going to be even better because both City and Arsenal are playing at home. It will be a matter of playing basketball scores, like
Yeah.
who is going to score how many.
Yeah,
And
actually, just before this, I was watching the Sky interview of how tough Everton has been. So it's even
mm,
Everton. If you see Everton's defense, they have only conceded the fourth least goals. So if you see Arsenal 28, Man City 33, Liverpool has some 40 something. Then next is actually Everton. So
mm,
they have conceded the most least goals after the top three. So it's not going to be easy again
mm,
against Everton. We barely got a 1-0 away from home. But usually we do outscore Everton at home. We usually have a field day. It's usually our last game. But they have secured safety from relegation. But again, it all comes down to to Spurs and West Ham.
mm.
But I don't know. I'm not gonna keep my hopes up. So I'm just gonna play it down. If it happens, that's awesome. Um,
If it happens, that's going to be really awesome because it also commemorates Arsenal's 20 years since the Invincible
right,
season.
right.
Uh, well, let's hope for that. Let's hope for better times next year. We'll definitely talk over the summer about the transfer market and what we expect, and
Yeah,
obviously a lot of
and
things.
it's hard to believe. I think I want to remind our viewers and subscribers that we started this a year ago
Mm,
against when we won the Community Shield against Man City. So that was our first video. The Gunnar Vibe has already completed one season, almost at least a
mm.
week away from that. So that itself is an achievement. So I think we need to pat ourselves in the back for 38 weeks, and even beyond that, we have been doing this podcasts, and that I didn't even realize it's almost one season. So
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even think about it either. But yeah, thanks for your partnership, Varun. It's definitely
I love,
been
yeah.
fun talking about Arsenal. Let's try and find or get more Gunners in
Yes,
the channel and have a broader
More
community to talk
discussion.
to. But yeah,
Yep. Awesome.
but yeah, thanks guys. If you like and like what we have conversed, obviously we have one more game to go in the season. We'll talk about that as well. But if you find this engaging, please like and subscribe. Um, and let's, like Varun said, join us on a chat, and we can have you come in and discuss about Arsenal as well.
Absolutely. All right. So we'll see you
Uh,
guys on game week 38 after the, either we'll be super happy or disappointed. So it's okay. But we'll be there, like how Pep
yeah,
says.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
All right.
All right.
Take
Thanks, Varun.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.